everybody, Erica Serwin from Pink Buckaroo Designs. I have a card for you today that I made for the Fancy Friday blog hop where we're focusing on techniques this month, and I thought I would take a few minutes and show you how I made not only the background but the shaker. I made it in real red and also garden green. All right, so let's get started first with a background. Using a background stamp to create a patterned background is my first technique. And not only did I use that technique, but I also I embossed it with white embossing powder. This is a stamp called Medley. It is in the current Stampin' Up! Holiday catalog, and I really liked all the different sayings, and I really liked how in the middle we have season to believe. I think that's a great sentiment. We want to protect our work surface because this stamp is larger than our card front, and I'm going to put my garden green card front down, and I'm going to ink up this stamp really well with Versamark. Oh, but you know what I need to do whenever you're embossing, whenever you're heat embossing, you always want to use your Stampin' Buddy or Embossing Buddy, I'm sorry. An Embossing Buddy is a little pouch full of chalk, and mine is all dirty from being thrown around so many times in my drawer, but it puts a layer of, I don't know, some kind of powder. It's like baby powder, but it's going to create a non-static surface so that when you pour on your embossing powder, it's not going to stick in the places that you don't want it to stick. Now, when you're using a background stamp, one of the hardest things to do is to get it straight. So I recommend that you just stand right on top, kind of check the sides, and just set it down. And then you really want to push. With most of our stamps, you don't need to apply a lot of pressure. But this stamp is so big that we're really going to put pressure all over it. All right, there we go, perfect. Sometimes it takes a couple of tries, so don't be too hard on yourself if it's not perfect the first time. All right, now I'm going to use some white embossing powder to sprinkle all over the Versamark ink. The Versamark ink is specially designed for embossing. You can't just emboss with every ink pad that you have. This is a juicier, stickier ink that doesn't dry quickly. And you can see that my embossing powder has stuck nicely to all of it. Now, I also, when I'm embossing, I like to keep an old little skinny paintbrush around. And in case I see any stray things, like right here, sometimes you can blow them away, but you can use your little skinny paintbrush to wipe them away so that when you heat it, they don't stick. All right, so now it's going to take me a few minutes to heat this and turn that embossing powder into a shiny surface. When you're working with a surface this big with embossing powder, you kind of want to just start in one corner and move over to the side and keep going. Don't just do it all random because you won't know if you've missed any spots. So I'm going to start up here and move to the once your embossing is done, you can set that aside, and we're going to make the shaker. All right, we're going to use some silver shimmer cardstock. I'm sorry, silver glimmer cardstock. Let me move this out of the way since it has powder on it. And we're also going to use a window sheet. It's probably hard to see, but this is a window sheet. It's completely clear piece of acetate. And we're going to cut these out using the layering oval thinlits. And the first one we're going to do, is take our silver shimmer cardstock, silver glimmer cardstock, and we're going to just make a frame. So we're going to put the small non-scalloped one inside of the larger scalloped one, and make sure that it's even. And I'm using my magnetic plate to keep those in place so they don't jump around while I'm cutting. All right, so you can see that we've created a little frame. Now we're going to just take the larger one and that window sheet, and we're going to cut a piece of the window sheet to match that larger oval. If you hear your Big Shot make that noise, do not be alarmed. It's normal. All right, and there we have the oval. Now we're going to lay this on here, and we have to adhere it. And this is going to take some time for it to dry. I recommend that you use your fine tip glue pen and put some adhesive. Be careful, because if you put too much, it's going to smear around and get on your window sheet. So I'm going to actually take the tip of that and kind of spread that around. All right, now let's see if I can match this up. All right, now I'm going to set this aside to dry for a little while. And while we're doing that, one tip with this fine tip glue, always put this little, the lid that has the little poker thing in immediately, because I will tell you, if you leave it overnight without that in there, it's ruined. It will not, it clogs up really quickly. So that's why they have that pin in there. All right, so let's make the holly. And for the holly, I am using the Holly Berry Happiness. This is a really cute stamp set with a coordinating punch. And I'm going to get the big holly, that is the opened line image, the small holly, and the little berries. Now we're just going to put the berries on a clear block, but I'm going to show you how to line these up on your block so that they match the punch. All right, so let me show you how to line these holly berry leaves up. We're going to punch out these leaves so we know how they look when they're punched. Now let's take our holly leaves and lay them down into those little holes. That kind of creates a template for you. All right, now let's stamp them twice. All right, and that should line them up just right for you. That way you don't have to waste too much paper. Now we need 3 leaves for this card. 2 big and 1 small. And we're also going to do the holly berries in real red on real red cardstock and line that up. Sometimes you have to turn it around until you get that match, till you get it lined up. All right. Now you could use your fine tip glue pen here also, but I prefer glue dots. So I'm going to take 1 glue dot and do that, and another glue dot, and put this guy on top. All right, now I'm going to use my candy cane lane twine to make a bow. And remember that don't pull it too tight until you've got those little loops the size you want. And I will tell you that this twine doesn't behave like the other twines because it's got that metallic thread in there. So sometimes I have a hard time getting a perfect bow with this twine, but that's okay because it's still really pretty even if the bow isn't perfect. All right, on a glue dot. Uh-oh, what did I forget? I forgot the berries. So let's do that. We'll put those below the bow with a glue dot, just like that. All right, once your window is dry, you're going to turn it over and you're going to take one of these long foam adhesive strips and carefully go around the outside of your window. It's very skinny, the frame, so you've got to really be careful. You don't want to see that foam adhesive peeking out on the inside or the outside. it here, just clip it and make those two butt up together so that that glitter will not escape. All right, we are ready to put our card together now. I am using some of the silver Stampin' Glitter, and I'm going to use a spoon to really kind of control where this goes, because the first time I did it, it went everywhere, and then my little shaker window was not sticking. All right, so we're going to put it right on top of that Season to Believe, and I'm going to peel off the backing of my shaker and frame that Season to Believe right there. Okay, so you can see now you've got your shaker. And last but not least, we're going to add on our little holly to the frame. And a word of warning, it is hard to get anything to stick to this silver glimmer paper. Glue dots and dimensionals do not work very well. I find that liquid adhesive works best. So use your Tombow or your fine tip glue pen to add that to your shaker. All right, there you have it. 2 techniques, a shaker window on an embossed background. I hope you like it. Let me know what you think, and I hope you'll give it a try. Thanks. Bye-bye.